Hello and welcome back to yet another edition of the Chintan Chats. We are so thrilled today because with us today is India's top climate scientist. And you might wonder why. And the reason is that we are getting ready for the most terrible heat waves in this country. And we thought it was a great time for us then to talk to Dr. Rajeevan. And Dr. Rajeevan is just not any scientist. He's actually a scientist who's worked on the edge of scientific research and policy. In fact, he was the secretary of the Ministry of Earth Sciences. And not only that, he's had 38 plus years of experience being a researcher, a scientist around climate change. Not only that, he's also led the Deep Oceans mission. So you will appreciate that today we're going to be able to break down science, ask the kinds of questions we've wondered about, and really understand what's happening around us, not just in terms of headlines in media, but actually the science of it. And you may wonder, what is Dr. Rajeevan doing right now? Well, he's the Atria University's Vice Chancellor. The university is located in Bangalore, so we're especially grateful that he's been able to take the time out. Thank you, Dr. Rajeevan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's start with this question. Do you feel that an 18-year-old Indian child today, an 18-year-old young person today is going to experience the seasons in the same way that you experienced when you were 18?
Quick answer is no. Because climate is changing. Of course, the 4 season will remain same, but what we experience during the season will definitely is changing. So 18 years old, when he grows up, maybe when he becomes 30 or 40, so whatever we experience in the past will not be the same what he'll be experiencing 30, 20 years or 30 years down the line. Because the heat will go up, temperatures will go up. The frequency of heavy rainfall events or extreme weather events are going to increase, and the length of monsoon season is going to change. So he will experience much different kind of experience he will have during the different seasons. So, winter will not be that cold. Summer will be too hot. Rainy season will be too erratic, and that kind of feelings he will have in the future.
My God, that's a whole different universe to grow up in. But the question I'm really curious about is, for you as a scientist, when you say heat will increase, how do you define that?
The heat wave is basically a meteorological event, and we define there's no universal definition for heat wave, so we define in different ways. And many people define the heat waves in different way. So what IMD does it using a threshold of 45 degrees Celsius temperatures, and if it is more than 4 degree or 5 degree above normal and persist for 3-4 days, then they call it a heat wave. So heat wave is basically a kind of event in which we experience above normal temperatures, both daytime as well as nighttime temperatures, and it lasts for about 5 to 6 days. But spread over a larger area. Maybe it will be affected simultaneously in 4 or 5 states together. So it's a large scale event, and once it starts, it will persist for about 5 to 6 days. And during that period, temperatures will be above normal, and this by 4 to 5 degrees.
So this 4 to 5 degree increase, we used to see it even earlier, but it used to be for a couple of days. So what is different in today's heat stress and heat wave and the intensity?
Very good. That's a good concept. So heat wave is a natural phenomenon. And as you said that we used to experience heat waves during the earlier years, 20 years, 30 years back. But so it's a natural process, a natural variability. In some days it will go up, some days it will go down. So, but what we are experiencing now is the frequency, duration, and the maximum number of days in which the heat wave experiences. These three things are going up, increasing. For example, we are experiencing more and more heat wave events. And when it happens, the duration is going to be little more than what we experienced earlier. And the maximum duration, so earlier used to have 7 days, now it is become 8 days, 9 days, that kind of thing. So this frequency and the duration is increasing. So that's what we are worrying about it. Otherwise, heat wave is basically a natural process.
So quite often we read that, well, this place has hit 50 degrees and 49 degrees, and those are the headlines. So there is also a question of maximum temperatures reached, even if it's for a few hours.
Yes.
And that's also part of the new trends you're seeing.
Yes, yes. Actually, the daytime temperatures are increasing, both daytime as well as nighttime. And what we are worrying is about daytime, because there's a period that's the temperatures are very high, and that will have an impact on our health. And also it has an effect on agriculture. It has an effect on water resources management. It has a serious implication on many sectors. But what we human being, we are worried about our own health. So it will be a serious impact, especially when daytime temperatures goes up and last for many hours. So then it will have a serious impact.
Absolutely. So now tell me something, in this heat wave, this heat phenomenon that we're seeing, are we also seeing something around what are going to be the worst impacted places? Because already we are realizing that, places in the Himalayas, which used to be quite cool in May and June, in fact, people used to go there to escape, the Indo-Gangetic plains. Those are actually quite warm and you need fans. So what is your take on that?
See, the daytime temperatures are increasing everywhere. So no place is left out. Everywhere, all over the country, the temperatures are going up. But heat wave, as per the IMD's definition, is mostly seen in two places, two regions. One is for central and northwest India, states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Delhi, Punjab, western parts of UP, Madhya Pradesh. That's the area we call central and northwest India. Another area where we experience heat wave is the east coast of India, northern parts of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and some parts of Odisha also, coastal region. These are the two regions where we experience more and more heat waves every year. But this, as you said, that the daytime temperature is going up everywhere. So when we used to live without fans, so where the places like foothills or Himalaya, some places, even in Bangalore, we never used to fans. But many people now say that without air conditioner, they cannot live in May. And so that such kind of feelings are there everywhere. So temperatures are going up, and beyond a point, then we will not able to sustain. So unless we have getting a cooling effect from air conditioner or fan, etc. So. But heat waves are these two regions.
So tell me something about heat waves on the eastern coast. Say you talked of Odisha. Do they have a greater share of wet bulb where the humidity is very high, even if the temperature is not the same high?
That's a really good point, a good question. And at present, we are not really worrying much about the effect of humidity. But I'll tell you, the humidity effect is much more important than just increase in temperatures. So even if east coast, temperatures don't go beyond 40, and also we never heard about it. So even with the 35-degree temperatures, but humidity is 70%, 80%, its combined effect on health will be heat stress, so-called heat stress will be much more than a temperature of 40 or 42. So the humidity aspect is much more important. The east coast of India, the people, because it's a coastal place, the humidity is much more than any other place. So that will have an impact of temperatures as well as humidity. So IMD's heat wave definition at present is based on only the tribal temperatures. So they don't account for humidity. Recently, they just started doing it by using our heat index, in which the heat index is calculated using daytime temperature, tribal temperature as well as humidity. So, but many places, even for example, US, the heat index they call is based on the temperature as well as humidity. And in IMD, they measure a parameter called wet bulb temperatures. Basically, nothing but it is an effect of temperature as well as humidity. So, wet bulb temperature, anything more than 32 degree is not really good.
Because your body can't sweat anymore, right? And you start literally porching from within and collapse.
Yes, exactly.
So do you think the scientific community has done enough work around humidity? Because we have 7,000 plus kilometers of coastline. And if heat is spreading everywhere, we need to protect coastal populations.
At present, in India, if you the answer, quick answer is no. So we did not do much work on the effect of humidity. So we have been focusing only on type of temperatures, as I said. But then later, so humidity has an impact, a very huge impact on our human health. So we need to try to understand what is the combined effect of humidity or so-called wet bulb temperatures, and also we need to have indices based on wet bulb temperatures to forecast.
Yeah.
Not just maximum temperature is going to this and heat wave frequency is this. That may not really help, especially on the east coast of India. Not only east coast, the whole coastal region.
Yeah.
We need to really tell them that wet bulb temperature is going to be like this, and we need to have a indices for that, and also we need to have a forecasting system to predict that heat increase in wet bulb temperatures and warn them properly.
So
That so far we don't have a full-fledged system. That's what my feeling.
So for wet bulb, you don't have a forecasting system because you don't have one for humidity, basically.
The humidity, people forecast humidity, but the combined effect of dry bulb temperature and humidity is not really, and we did not make an index relevant for us.
Yeah.
We have indices for US, but the index for US is we cannot really adopt it,
Yeah.
because for them even 35 degree is very hot. For us 35 is nothing. So
Yeah.
45, 40, 45, 47 we experience. So the same index we cannot, you can use it, but thresholds we cannot use it.
Yeah.
Which is high, which is low, and all. So we need to define our own threshold based on our own physiology, etc.
Absolutely.
So that we did not do an exercise.
So that would be urgent.
That could be urgent. So I have been telling IMD people even after retirement, saying that please do that. So people not worried about dry bulb temperature. People are everywhere, even in interior parts of even Delhi. Once May, for example, once some rain comes and goes, and next day it will be very humid.
Yeah.
And so the temperature may go down because the rain comes down, but humidity goes up. So then combined effect will be much more than temperatures before the rain came. So we have to be very careful. So we did not have that. We don't have the system now, but IMD is on the job. That's what I understand. So hopefully it will come.
Well, yeah. But let's move to the other of heat, which is cold. And, many of us who've grown up in, let me say, Delhi and generally in cold places kind of miss the extreme biting cold that we experienced, and the way fog would come and, take over even an urbanized area where I live and where I lived. So is this just anecdotal, or is it true that the cold is changing in some way?
Cold is changing, definitely it is changing, because so the whole phenomenon, the whole thing in what we are talking about, heat waves, etc., is simply because the global warming is taking place. So it's a global phenomena, but India also is getting affected because the global warming. The whole globe is warming up, and so when whole globe is warming up, the cold events are going to be decreasing. So we'll have less and less severe winters. So when I was there in Delhi for about 7-8 years, what I was worrying about these winters, because I can sustain somehow hot temperatures, but not the cold temperature. Anything below 20 is very cold for me.
Yeah.
I used to be very worried. So, but nowadays people say that the winter is not that harsh in Delhi. So that kind of experience we'll have more and more in coming future. So
What numbers are we thinking about? Like by how much will...
see, till temperatures will be cold in the sense that it will be to 10, 12 degree, but the days in which it goes to 2 degree, 4 degree, 5 degree may not be that high.
And perhaps no more snow? Do you...
No more snow in the Delhi, we cannot, we should not.
No, I meant the Himalayas.
Himalayas, in general, the winter precipitation with the snow is reducing. So last year also, we did not have any winter precipitation. This year, I mean to say this year, we hardly had any winter precipitation. The people going in there for holidays in Missouri and Simla for playing with the snow, that's not happening now. People are worried. People there also worried because their industry is affected.
Absolutely.
But, so snow is getting reduced in winter, but everything is getting changed into some other season. For example, April, May it rains there, but it don't be a snow because temperatures are high. So snow is reducing. Even in Himalayas, the snowfall which we can measure using satellites, the snowfall over Himalayas is reduced.
Which obviously means a reduction in water.
Because the melting of snow by the later months, April, May, will be the input to the rivers which goes to Punjab and Pakistan, etc.
Yeah. So, we've talked about these phenomenon which can impact our health and which are happening already. But do you think we're prepared with warning systems? How are people supposed to know to expect an extreme day or extreme heat? Because people need to plan, people need to somehow be, look after themselves and their communities.
Fortunately, we have a good warning system now for heat waves. Very good warning system. And so, what when I was secretary, we introduced a system called Set, Ready, and Go. That kind of a so that means you advance do a warning almost some 3-4 months before. It's like a seasonal forecast. This coming season will be very warm, and also the frequency of heat wave is going up. So you are set. Then 10-15 days before a heat wave occurs, then you say that next 10-15 days you should expect a heat wave event. Set ready, be ready. And 2 days or 3 days or 4 days before you say that on this day the heat wave is going to start and it will last for 5 days. So rest action, do action. So that kind of a system has been already established and it's going well. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes we fail. I'm not saying that it's a foolproof system, but sometimes. But most of the heat wave events are well predicted now, only 4 to 5 days in advance. That is good enough time for us to do preparations.
Yeah.
Want the people to take a necessary action, inform hospitals, inform schools, whatever adaptation issues we need, mitigation issues we need, we can really do that. So our warning system for heat waves is pretty good.
Yeah. So you feel that this warning system should be extended to wet bulb also?
Yes. We at present we don't have a warning system exclusively meant for heat index, which is a measure of tribal temperatures as well as relative humidity.
Now, briefly, very, very briefly, diverting to a lifestyle thought and question. Many people like to take holidays, and many people benefit from the tourism industry at multiple levels, whether they run large companies or whether they run homestays. And you've been talking on the Chintan chats about freak weather events. And freak weather events will obviously mean a huge disruption. So, would you advise people whose whole livelihood depends on kind of pleasant weather and something enjoyable which is disrupted by climate change? Would you kind of advise people like that to build into their plans a new normal which is unpredictable?
Well, that's a good question, and I will answer is yes, freak events are increasing. Definitely, it is increasing. Now, for example, suddenly it will be a pleasant weather in the morning. In the evening, you can expect a huge heavy rainfall and a flash flood. It can happen. Okay, if everything is set, people will be ready for a big holiday event, and they'll be enjoying it. And particular times, so maybe in the evening, so we can expect a heavy rainfall and a flash flood that can disturb the whole life on the day. Yeah. So similarly, the wind episodes, strong winds occurring.
Has that increased?
That freak events are increasing. There's no doubt.
Even wind episodes.
Even wind episodes.
Which part of the country?
It happens mainly over foothills of Himalayas, especially because of the winds flowing from the hills to the downs. So such kind of events are happening, and thunderstorms and dust storms.
Yeah, those are.
Thunderstorm can really bring a huge, severe disruption in terms of heavy rain and strong winds. It can simply uproot trees and all. It's a huge event. So a frequency of thunderstorm which is not very well predictable. So, for example, you cannot tell tomorrow there will be thunderstorm over Delhi. We can say that it may, that kind of. So, use the word may. But exactly when it will occur, how it will be the intensity of thunderstorm, we will not be able to tell you unless a few hours before. So, few hours before we will be able to tell. By that, when you tell and inform the people, take action, people take necessary action, the time will go off. By that time, thunderstorm will come and disrupt everything. It will throw out all the things, and some people may be killed, and lightning can occur. So the thunderstorm event, the heavy, is called convective events, freak events, is increasing. Frequency of thunderstorms is going up, mainly because of global warming. When global warming happens, what will mean the atmosphere has an effect of it can more temperature. It can contain more moisture. Yeah. So more moisture means strong development of clouds, And strong development in clouds mean it can develop into thunderstorm clouds and thunder clouds, and it can give a heavy precipitation. So with a thunderstorm means then there will be lightning. So
The lightning incidents are really
really going up, really going up. Especially for example, Bihar recently, something 250 people died in one day. One day.
And so that's linked with climate, isn't it?
This is related to climate change.
So, what should we expect for lightning? Because Bihar just didn't have, I mean, there's so many cases now of farmers just getting struck by lightning.
Yes, exactly. See, because in daytime, what will happen? They all will be in the farm.
Yeah.
They'll all be farm. And what normally when we tell that there's going to be a lightning, or when they see the lightning is happening, what they normally do, it's a very bad experience they do. You go under a tree just to save themselves. That is the worst thing which you should do. You should never go under a tree.
Why?
Because lightning is it needs a path, isn't it? So large trees is definitely a path. It's a wire. The lightning, the electricity will pass through the trees and goes to the ground. So if you are under the tree, you will be the most affected. So you go be in the field, be out. Then that is better than going under a tree.
But then if you're out, aren't you the wire and the...
No, it cannot be. Because you are tall. You are not that tall.
I see. I see. So, because I have been...
How you lie down, that kind of thing. So it's not a heavy, longer trees. It's not a high tree, isn't it? So high trees, high buildings, that's the area where it gets affected. So it gets linked and goes to the... That's why tall buildings, we make that lightning arrestor and all this.
Yeah. So that's actually quite scary.
That's the worst thing which people do.
Stand under the tree.
Stand under the tree. Because it rains, so they want to save themselves from the rain, so they go under the tree, but the lightning will get affected. And so this kind of simply outreach and kind of awareness, creation of awareness among the poor people is the most important thing which we need to do.
Yeah, that's certainly very, very important. Now, I had another question, a lot of, with the new American administration, there's been a lot of funding cut to a lot of bodies, a lot of scientific bodies. And I was reading in the papers that NOAA's funding is cut, and they work on oceans and atmosphere, and they used to produce a data set which IMD in India would use to triangulate the data around monsoon. Now that you don't have the data set, your prediction around monsoon becomes weaker. Have I understood this correctly?
You understood correctly. Not completely, but so that is a very unfortunate thing which is happening in US. So US and Weather Service is one of the top in the whole world, and they do excellent work. And India, as far as I know, and when I was secretary also, we had very good relation with NOAA. NOAA is nothing but is equivalent to Ministry of Earth Sciences.
Yeah.
They do cater both atmosphere as well as ocean. It's equivalent to NASA for space. And they do get a lot of funding from the government. And we had a lot of good collaborations. And they put a lot of observations. So, and those observations and data sets which for example, if you want to run a model, their data is the initial data which we put it into the model and run it.
Oh my God.
It's got input. It's input. The first initial conditions, of course now we create ourselves. But earlier days we used to download from them and use it for our own work. And India and NOAA has put together a lot of ocean observation over the Indian oceans. It's called Rama database. Yeah. And those observations are still going on. I'm not saying it is not completely disrupted, but if this funding mechanism is continuing, the cutting of the funding is continuing, it will affect that observations. And these ocean observations, Rama beads, etc., Indian Ocean observations are very crucial for understanding monsoon, prediction of monsoon, more importantly, tropical cyclone forecast.
Oh my goodness.
Tropical cyclone forecast is going to affect us seriously.
So you might not be able to have the same accuracy.
If this trend goes for another 1 year or so, definitely we should really worry. And I'll tell you, people
tell us exactly.
I'll tell you. So the ocean observations are important in terms of putting this initial condition into the model. The ocean model predict how the tropical cyclone is going to go up, or in which direction it will move, and what will be the intensity, etc. So the initial data is very important. Most of the data comes from these Rama buoys, and of course we have another set of observations also. But any reduction in these initial conditions will definitely affect the quality of forecast which we prepare. quality of data which prepare. At present, what I understand is these observations are still going on. And in my understanding, I know that these instruments are put by us, but it is prepared by them. It's their own observation, and they come once in a year and they maintain these observations. And if the funding is cut, they will not come. The instrument will go out, and we'll be in trouble. So if this trend is continuing, definitely it is a warning signal for us. That people may ask. Some people ask me also, why you are depending on them? Why can't you do it yourself? I'll tell you, in weather and climate, you cannot do it yourself for everything. Everything. You can do it your part, but there is need of a collaboration. Otherwise, you cannot do.
Because it's a global.
It's a global phenomenon. You cannot expect India to put all observations over Indian Ocean. It's a huge investment. And US, why they are invested to put observations? Because it helps them also. So everywhere, even in Europe, they all collaborate each other. You cannot say that France will say that I will put my observation and you don't know. It's not so. And all observations, as you know, it's as per the UN framework of WMO, World Meteorological Organization. All these observations are exchanged in real time. We get data from US get data from us. Even Pakistan data comes to us. We give data to Pakistan. We don't say that India and Pakistan are enemies in terms of meteorology, in terms of weather and climate. Because the weather will be coming from in Pakistan to us and it will be affecting us. Similarly, the other way. So, a lot of beautiful collaboration is existing inside. And any disruption in this collaboration will definitely affect not only in India, the whole global community. So, any cutting which Trump is trying to do it with NOAA will have serious implications. And they are one of the best weather services in the world.
That is so sad to hear. That is really very, very sad.
I'll add one more point. So the carbon dioxide measurements in which we normally depend on this observation and say that carbon dioxide is increasing, global warming is happening. This observatory is set up in a place called Mauna Loa. It's in Miami. And that observatory is not closed down. But those observations are put in the website every day. That carbon dioxide, the most purest observations we have. It's David Keeling. He's the person who has put. He's not there. His son is now still running it. And the first thing Trump has done is remove that website, assuming that people should not know what carbon dioxide is. Carbon dioxide can be measured by anyone. Why it should be done at Miami? It can be done anywhere. So, because that observations are the most crucial observation in which all climate change discussions, dialogues, or bargainings are done. So he thought that by suppressing that observations, he thinks that other people are not knowing what is happening. It's the most pure, the purest observation we have. Beautiful observation. And I used to see almost every week how the carbon dioxide is. 420, now it is across 420 ppm now. Started from 250, 420 is a very big number.
Yeah.
And he thinks that people should not see that.
That's so tragic.
That is so tragic.
So I'm asking you the last question, which I often think about. You're such a leading voice in the global community of scientists looking at climate change. And do you feel, as scientists in a world where there's so much focus away from science on geopolitics, on other kinds of things, do you think scientists today feel that they're being heard by the powers?
Quick answer is no.
What
is the answer? Quick answer. No, it should be. People should, the government and policymakers should listen to scientists. And scientists also have the responsibility to telling them. Simply writing research papers and worrying about their promotion is not enough. They have an extra kind of responsibility saying that I did this and this has serious implication in terms of policy framework. So please listen to me and do things what we are discussing it. So the communication between science and policy makers is very weak, especially in India. People are not worried about science, scientists are not worried about policy makers. Then the question is, why we do science? If it is not very useful for the policymakers to make a policy and change the society, isn't it? Science should be useful for the society, not just to write research papers. You can do a fundamental research, breakthrough research, that things can come. But it has an additional response. We have an additional responsibility talking to the people. You will ask, I will tell you why I came here, even though I have a busy schedule. Because I think that this kind of initiative which Chintan is doing, I should be a part of that.
Thank you so much.
I should be a part of it. I have a social responsibility. I always think beyond my science. My science should be useful for society. Otherwise, there's no meaning of doing science. Of course, I will get promotion. I am considered to be one of the best climate scientists in the country. It's all fine. But so what? So what? So the next question is your science is really helping the society? If answer is yes, I'll be very happy.
Well, that's a very profound thought to close our current conversation.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time, and thank you for your thinking about not just climate science, but about the role of science. Because as we see, things changing globally, India's doing its science very rigorously and setting its targets, but it is doing so in a relatively uncertain world of science. So I wish you all the best. I wish you the science of the world all the best.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.